what we'd like to talk about today is something called partnering. Debra and Peggy have known each other for quite some time and have partnered together to help Peggy get out of a phase of homelessness. And maybe we could talk about how you got to be homeless, Peg.
Okay. In July of 2009, I woke up and couldn't walk. I became disabled, and within a month I was homeless. And I spoke with Debra in August, but until October, she finally took my case. And she's been my partner since, and helping me struggle through not only homelessness with my son in a car, but also domestic violence, financial, just everything that any person that has fallen.
If you're living, you've experienced it. Well, I did some wintering shelter in Redway, and I had done it as extreme winter weather shelter, and during the winter months. And the last time that I did it. I followed the 87 people to the streets, because in the short amount of time that you extreme weather shelter, you can't get anything really done. So I promised them to follow them all to the streets and address whatever it was that each one of them needed. Well, you first have to have somebody that's willing to make a change in their life and has been through, most people, when I meet them, they've been through a lot of things in their life, and they're wanting to get out of that and change, or they have medical situation and we need to get medical care, and that was Peg's case. I held her off for a while to make sure that Peg was ready to make the change, and that's how we partnered with each other. Peg was consistent. She called me. I had maybe a list of things I wanted her to do that I felt that would be beneficial to her in her life. Do some counseling. Let's get the medical straightened away. Let's get you inside and see what that looks like after we've done that. And when I met Peg, she had a son that was just starting his senior year in high school,
And you were homeless.
Yeah.
And you were living out of a car, correct?
Yeah, it was a little.
It was a little car.
A little four-door Honda.
What kind of places where were you staying?
Any place that we could possibly park without being harassed. Here in Garberville, it was on the back streets, and we were kind of like cautious of what time. You had to have the time down, otherwise you'd be harassed. All the way up to Eureka, and even tried getting into winter shelters, and still making the drive back to Benbow for my son to go to school.
And he graduated.
Yes, with a B. He was a B+ student.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And so I understand that it took quite some time for you to get your disability confirmed.
Yes.
And it is a permanent disability?
Yes.
Yes.
And you are actually living in what would you call it, an apartment?
Yeah, a 2-bedroom apartment with my son.
Like a cottage.
Yeah.
Kind of like a cottage. It's really nice. It beats a car.
You mentioned getting some counseling for domestic violence, and you were thinking about doing that some more, doing it again.
Yeah, I lost my grandson in May of 2010. At that time, I was homeless. My son was going to school. Life couldn't have gotten any worse. But we made it. I partnered up with Debra here. She's been my support through everything. Even when I was in Chicago, through all this with my grandson, she was my partner. She was there. Anytime that I needed to talk, she would pick up the phone. Even when we're 2 hours apart, she'd still pick it up if I forgot what time it was, just to calm me down.
We're talking about 4 children, is that correct?
Yes.
And grandkids now?
I have 4 grandchildren. I have a grandson who passed away in May, who was 5, and 3 beautiful granddaughters. I have 3 daughters and a son.
Wow, just amazing tenacity and strength, and you know, so this partnering really helped out. Yes.
Yes.
And it helped Peggy be able to get her on solid ground, to be able to extend her hand to her children, to get things back in order and get them here in Humboldt County. And, you know, there was a lot of work Peg had to do to get her family back on track. They had a tragedy. She had to get in a home. She had to get her medical situation. And then she had children that she had to help through the mourning process, her whole family. And so I think that one of the things people don't understand is it doesn't matter where you live, life comes on. And we still experience everything that we experience in life. If it's a loss, we experience that. Whatever it is, we experience that, and no matter where we live or what conditions we live under. So I think that that's something people don't realize, that people are in a crisis, living in a crisis, experiencing a crisis, and trying to get out of a crisis at the same time.
Well, I think a lot of people can relate to that, and in fact, most people can. That insecurity you were talking about, Peg, there's a lot of people feeling that insecurity with the economy the way it is, with, you know, all this, I'm trying to think of a polite word that's going on in Washington, you know, with sequestration and, you know, shutting the government down and all that, and it's just terrible. And so, yes, people are insecure. And one of the things that we're talking about on this show is that you know, poverty is a huge issue, and wealth inequality is a huge issue, and we really need to address that. It's, in other words, a lot of people blame themselves.
Yeah.
Say, well, it's my fault I don't have a great job, my fault I don't have a great education, my fault I don't have a really nice home. Well, you know, if those very, very ultra-rich would pay their fair share of taxes and the corporations would pay their fair share of taxes, you'd have a much better chance of doing all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my 2 cents. Okay, and that's my dog Maggie encouraging our folks talking here. And so, Peg and Debra, through the times that you've known each other, the issue of domestic violence has you know, been
Surfaced.
Something you've had to deal with.
Yes.
How's that feeling in your life right now?
Cautious. Every day, you know, you wake up and you worry about, is somebody going to hurt you the same way that other person hurt you before? I mean, it's a constant struggle, and it's even harder when you're homeless and trying to deal with a child. You know, life's cruel, but there's also partnering with somebody that can help you through those hard times and get you back on your feet. And I'm so grateful that Debra's my friend. She helped me get back. She's still there for me.
When we were talking earlier, Peg, you mentioned, we talked about domestic violence and how it affects your confidence.
It brings your self-esteem so low. You have to rebuild yourself before you can really reach out to others. You have to make sure that you feel good about you. Who cares what other people think? You have to restructure yourself as far as counseling and being around people that are going to build you back up instead of bring you down. For every year you're in domestic violence, it takes another year to bring you back to who you once was. If you grow up in a domestic violence from childhood into adulthood, it will take a lifetime, but I've managed to overcome a lot of things with great support from my buddy Debra, my children, my grandkids, just the community in a whole. You know, it takes a lot, but I have to make that first step. Everybody can be there to give me advice and offer me assistance, but I take the first step to make it all happen. To get where I'm at today, I made those steps.
That's right.
I read a statistic recently that really kind of threw me. It said it was the 2011 point in time count here in Humboldt County. They said that 22% of
That's high.
all homelessness is caused by domestic violence. That's 1 in 5.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true here in Humboldt County due to the way the community is.
Lack of jobs,
Tension,
lack of,
stress.
yeah, the
Drugs
tension
and
from
alcohol.
not having the proper jobs, housing, you know, everything that goes with living. I think that pressure of we don't have jobs here, and so we don't have jobs for our men. You know, they're not going into the forest, and that's not happening
Or the
here.
women can't make the money.
Yeah, there's just no jobs. There's no jobs here, and so that's a problem. And I think that most of the people that I come across or deal with, a lot of women that I have out right now have had domestic violent incidents. Some of them were left right out on the street. One of them was left right plain out on the street, and he took everything she owned. And she was literally left here in southern Humboldt with nothing, never been here before. And she's surviving, you know. And we're helping her.
Okay, well, I know that a lot of churches out there are helping out there's some, you know, good programs and everything, but I guess our message here is that if as an individual you see someone that you might be able to reach out and help a little bit, it can make a big difference.
Oh, yeah.
But you got to make the first step.
That's right.